I still don't understand it. Having spoken to the owner and tried to understand his reasons why, I still don't really get it. We had our highest ever finish. We've never been higher than step four. We finished sixth, just outside the playoffs. We've never finished that high. Our average crowds were as high as they've ever been. And all of a sudden, this kind of grenade was dropped just before the end of the season. We had a management team that came in last year. They'd already started preparing our pre-season schedule by the time they found out. We had players who had put out tweets saying, I've really enjoyed this year. I feel like I found my non-league home. I'm going to stay next season. Other players who had just said, yeah, I really like it here. I'm hoping I'm going to get the chance to stay. Like I said, our crowds were up. And so, yeah, I feel like we're in a really good place. And I just kind of feel like it's all been needlessly thrown away a little bit. Having been there as long as I had, I'd got to know everyone really well. We kind of had a plan. We knew before we knew where we were heading. And then Friday afternoon, 24 hours before the news went out there publicly, I got told that we were taking voluntary relegation. There's not been much kind of transparency there at all, really. It's something that the owner has apparently been thinking about for 6 weeks, but has not didn't share with me, didn't share with any of the other volunteers or the fans. And that's part of the reason why everyone is so upset about it, because no one has actually shown us what the plan is. We know that we're getting relegated. I think we're getting relegated. The owner told me 4 divisions. Now we're currently in step 4, so that would take us down another 4. And to be honest, I don't even know where that will take us, really, kind of what league or anything. Yeah, it's just the owner explained to me that he felt it was something he had to do. And that was it, really. It was the biggest reaction I've ever had to a Twitter post, as you can imagine. None of the fans knew. And actually, I found that really hard, just the whole kind of having to put the news out there, knowing it was going to come as such a shock. The fans were distraught. They were like, if someone had have told us, we would have seen if there was anything we could do. I've had people calling me this week saying, is there anything I can do to help you stay at the division you're at? And I'm like, well, I'd love for that to be the case, but you need to speak to the owner, because he's the only one who can kind of make that decision. And from what I've seen, he's not actually that keen. I've had people from, I'm not going to name them, but people even from academies at professional football clubs getting in touch saying, we'd love to help you. Is there anything we can do? And I just don't think there is. But no, the fans didn't know. None of us volunteers knew. We'd heard rumours because actually other clubs, I'd heard about a week or so before it happened from the chairman of one of our local football clubs. And he said, what's going on? And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And it's only about a week or 2 weeks later when I found out from the owner what was happening. I was like, well, he was correct after all. So, yeah, we didn't really know. He didn't really consult with anyone. It's just kind of how it is. So the statement that I put out was from him. Wishy-washy is how I would describe the statement. And that's not actually just what I've said. That's what a number of people have said. It just seems like a decision taken with no real kind of plan. Yeah, and I honestly don't think actually that the owner realised how much of a reaction he would get from this, not just from people inside the club, but people outside the club. The fact that people have picked up on it from like all sorts of areas. I've had people from like local BBC radio stations, other news outlets calling me saying what's going on, doing stories on it. And yeah, I think it's been a much bigger thing than what he thought it would be. Loughborough's a really big kind of sporting town. We have the university, like we have so many like people from Loughborough going to the Olympics this year. Like sport is what Loughborough's about, and Loughborough deserves a decent football team. I can't think of many bigger towns or like cities or bigger sporting towns that don't have a football club, at least at the level we were at. And I think it's really disappointing for the town that they don't really have a football club to get behind anymore. I don't even know where they'll find a manager, where they'll find the players. I don't even know. A lot of like the playing staff volunteers have left. Understandably, the managers Tom and John have left because their stock is high anyway. They knocked back offers during the season to kind of show their loyalty to the club. So they're moving on. The players are obviously all moving on because they can play at a lot better standard than, with all due respect to the level we're going to, they can. Our sports therapist has left. She's had multiple offers from other clubs. I have left because, I mean, I have great respect for football at that level, but I don't know how many people would read a Step 8 match report, other than maybe the people who are involved in the game. So yeah, a lot of us have kind of moved on just because we want to try and maintain the level we're at. As much as I did it for experience and to kind of build my profile, you really kind of grow to love the club, don't you? It becomes a real part of who you are and your community and whatnot. And like, I mean, people have explained it to me. It might sound a little extreme, but people almost say it's like a bereavement when you lose your football club. And actually, in some ways, it almost is, because it hurts. It does hurt. Um, and it will take time to get over.